pretty spectacular.
Yes, yes, it is. Even on video, not even being there, it was just quite a majestic bird.
It was probably 50 or 75 yards from me, and it was easily 2.5 to 3 feet tall.
Wow.
Just sitting there eating something that is a joke.
You live near water at all?
Well, if you go beyond my house, there's a pond, and then there's the Merrimack River right beside.
Yeah, 'cause they like hanging out near rivers. Yeah.
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 So it's 5:30. I'm realizing we don't have a quorum of board members. At the same time, this is a meeting in lieu of the executive committee. We do have a quorum of the executive committee. So I'm going to wait one more minute, and I think I'll go ahead without a quorum. I don't think we're going to have votes. I think we just posted as a special board meeting to make sure that anybody who wants to come comes and that the public has access. Unless Kathleen, you or anybody else thinks that's a bad idea, in which case we could wait. Oh, you're on mute.
Here's Gina.
Oh, good. Great.
No,
Hi,
I'm
Gina.
fine. I'm fine.
Hi, Gina.
Hey, everybody.
Hey, Gina.
Oh, and there's Liza. So that's 5 board members. Okay.
Perfect.
Great.
I'll let you do your emergency meeting provisions and then I'll share the agenda, if that's okay.
Yep, that sounds great. Okay. Good evening, everyone. It is 5:31. I'm Jennifer Patterson. I'm president of the Concord School Board. I'm calling to order our special board meeting for scheduling. And I am first going to read the emergency meeting statement. I find that due to the state of emergency declared by the governor as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic and in accordance with the governor's emergency order number 12, pursuant to executive order 2020-04, the board is authorized to meet electronically. The business we intend to conduct today is necessary due to the need to plan the schedule of meetings for the coming months. This meeting takes the place of our regular executive committee meeting. Please note that there is no physical location to observe and listen contemporaneously to this meeting. However, in accordance with the emergency order, we are providing public access to the meeting by telephone and also by Microsoft Teams. All members of the board have the ability to communicate contemporaneously during this meeting, and the public can listen contemporaneously and, if necessary, participate. They can do that by dialing the phone number 925-391-1169 with a conference ID of 397-076-342#. They can also click on the link on the SAU8.org website, and they can also watch the meeting. It's being broadcast on CCTV, Channel 6, and also on CCTV's YouTube channel, and it will also be posted on the CCTV's website. The board does not intend to take public comment during this meeting. We always encourage the submission of citizen comments via email at concordinfo@sau8.org. And we did give notice to the public of how to join the meeting. It was posted on the board website, sau8.org, more than 24 hours prior to the meeting. If any member of the public is having a problem accessing the meeting, they can call 603-513-9008. And if the public is unable to access the meeting, then we will adjourn and reschedule. So first, I will take a roll call of members participating. All members will be participating remotely. If we take any votes, which we do not anticipate, then they will be by roll call. And when each member states their presence, please also state whether anyone is in the room with you during the meeting, which is required under the right to know law. Please also keep your microphone muted when not speaking and wait to be recognized. Ms. Cannon, are you present?
I am present, and my husband is providing emergency technical support here in my office.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Cannon. I hope it works. Mr. Croto, are you present?
I am present and I am alone.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Croto. Mr. Crush, are you present? Looks like he is not present. Ms. Higgins, are you present? Is Ms. Higgins present? Yes, you were there before.
I do see her initials, and when I do mouse over, I do see that she is logged in externally, but
Okay.
I see nothing more than that, and Jim just joined as well.
Yep. Okay, Jim, I'm going through the roll call. Haven't gotten to you yet, so you sneaked in before the bell. Mr. Parker, are you present? I did not hear Mr. Parker. Ms. Poinier, are you present?
I am here and alone.
Great, thank you, Ms. Poinier. Mr. Richards, are you present? Just saw Mr. Richards, so don't know what's going on with
Sorry,
people.
needed to unmute that.
Oh,
So-
okay.
Okay, I am here, and my wife Beth is in the adjacent room.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Richards. Ms. Smith, are you present? So it looks like Ms. Smith is not present. I am Jennifer Patterson. I am present. And if we could just go through the district staff who are present.
I think
Looks like-
Barbara is, I can see Barbara, Jen.
Yes,
I think
I
you're on
see you.
mute, though, Barbara.
Okay. I see. Can you hear us though? Okay, so we've got Ms. Higgins. She does not seem to be able to speak. Hopefully that will solve itself. But at least you can hear us. So welcome. So it looks like we have got Kathleen Murphy. Welcome. It looks like we have got Larry Prince and Lyndon Jackett, Matt Cashman, Jack Dunn, Donna Pally. And is that everyone from the district?
I believe so, yes.
I think so. Okay, great. Thank you. So I think our agenda tonight is relatively brief, I hope. We've got the proposed agenda for the July 6th monthly meeting, and then we've got the proposed schedule of meetings for July 2020 and August 2020. So I will turn it over to Jack Dunn, who's going to share the screen. And just briefly, what I wanted to note with respect to the agenda was that we've got two important updates that I have asked Kathleen Murphy to give under agenda item 4, and that those are first kind of a preliminary report on the plans for school reopening. I know people are very, very interested in hearing about this, and there is a lot of work going on. And then an update on the initial steps to address discrimination. And I believe there'll be some more information that will be made public about the meetings that we've had so far. So again, I think this is something that people are very interested in hearing about. So I will now stop and let either Kathleen, if you'd like to, or Jack go through the remainder of the agenda.
Well, I'll at least start here, and Kathleen can chime in since this is the first time she's probably seeing these documents, or she may have had them sent to her, but her first involvement in how we operate things. So we'll have the minutes from the various meetings, the recognition, Jenny, you were already attached. Then we'll have public comment on those items that are on the agenda. And then we have a professional leave of absence. We have some CEA confirmations. And then we have the hiring of Frank Bass to teach an independent study course. And I don't know if Larry, you want to elaborate more on that, or?
I'm assuming, Jen, you know about this, but he is interested in teaching a remote learning class at the high school of independent study. I talked about with him a stipend of $3,000, which will run from July to November. It's essentially over a 10 pay period timeframe. So he'll get $300 per pay period for 10 pay periods. And I think he will be able to talk to us about what that entails. Jack or whoever, we need to add a CAA confirmation
Yep.
on that as well, for the new special ed director at the middle school.
Great. Thank you, Larry, and thank you,
Yeah.
Jack. And yes, the Dr. Bass, this is class that he's proposing is basically a continuation of the literature class that he has been doing remotely. So I'm sure we will hear more about it when we meet on Monday.
Okay.
And then we'll have a report from the negotiations, which I believe was already approved when we had the special meeting for the CEAA contract. And then some other business services of communication consultant to ensure the messages are relayed to the public. So we'll have a vote on that as it relates to the Title IX and any equity issues. Any questions so far before I jump over to the calendar of meetings?
Jack, can I just speak briefly to the other business item?
Sure.
I just wanted to say that I think this is critically important for the district because of three issues, really. Certainly the sexual harassment Title IX work and the work around equity. And also the other big issue that we really have to make sure we have really good communication will be about the return to school. I know we're going to have an update earlier in the meeting, but those three issues, we have to make sure that we are getting out the appropriate communication to all the media outlets, including the government agencies in town too. I mean, the city needs to know what we're doing, and all the agencies around us that we work with. So I think this will be a huge assistance to us. It's a contract that I would like to see. It's got 35 hours in it, and that's it. Very limited, but certainly as we approach return to school in September and the other issues that the district is facing, I think this is critical to the work.
Yep, and thank you, Ms. Murphy, for bringing this forward. I think that it's definitely timely. I mean, I'm just starting to look at the recommendations about reopening, and I know that you've already spent quite a lot of time in your, I guess now former district to,
Right.
you know, to work through those issues. And it's such a rapidly changing situation, and people are so eager, very, very understandably, to know. I think that it's going to be helpful to have whatever help we can get to just amplify and clarify the
Right.
messages and get them out there. So,
And for the first time, I think our communication needs to broaden more beyond than what the traditional lines of communication have been. I think it has to broaden. I mean, and I think you have to include the New Hampshire Department of Ed, and I don't know if they've always been included in our communication, but that's the kind of thinking I had when I thought about bringing the communication consultant in.
no, thank you for that. And again, I'm just reading the preliminary recommendations, and it seems like there's a lot of reliance on each district to make decisions for itself. And I think that does necessitate a lot of communication. So we will look forward to hearing more about that.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
So Jenny, one other thing, and I think this would, I don't know whether we put this under, well, I believe we'll put it under the June 11th meeting. Remember we had the joint finance capital facilities where the committee heard about the the money left over from the steam to gas project. We need the full board to vote on that, reprioritizing that money. So I am going to we'll do it in the beginning, if that's okay.
Well, I think what we want to do is make sure that it's after the public comment period. So if it's something that requires a vote, so I think let's put it down as its own item.
Sure.
We could put it right after the public comment and before personnel, maybe, or we could put it after negotiations.
Obviously, we'll fix all this, but why don't I put it under finance?
Yep, and then it would be vote
that's
on.
who voted on. And,
Yep.
And then reprioritize. to gas funds. Okay,
Because we did take a vote at our June
correct.
25th meeting, but not on the reprioritization.
Oh,
Yep.
we saved this specifically to be separate for the monthly board meeting.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, no,
So
that sounds.
we'll
sounds
fix
good.
that. That's where I stuck it. All right.
And
perfect.
Tom, are you okay presenting that? It's not a meeting, but
Yeah, I've got notes from the June 11th meeting. We did go over it again just recently. So I'm just going to very quickly highlight, and then I'll follow Jack's lead on the votes.
okay, great. Thank you.
Perfect.
Well, that looks good for the agenda. Barb, I don't know, I mean, I'm putting you on the spot and you can't speak, but I know you had been interested in something around the retirees and honoring the retirees because we weren't able to have our typical reception. Is that something that should be included on the agenda? And I know you said you could maybe type in something, even though you aren't able to speak.
Let me chime in and just say that we're ready to do that anytime. We held off because you typically would do it in June. The only advance I need is time to order the award, but I could get those within 30 days. So if we were to pick August or September, I think I could get them all in house. We'd have to send out invitations and all that, but yeah, I mean, obviously September is better, but we could squeeze them in if we were to do it now. But you'd need to meet personally, you know what I mean? So, or in person. So I guess whenever that opens up.
Okay, no, that sounds good. And again, I know Barb is commenting in the comment section, which I think is consistent with what Larry said, which is that we'll be doing it later when we can do it in person.
Yeah.
And I know Liza had a question, and it was a question that we'll talk about when we actually are having a conversation during the meeting about the consultant. So okay, is there does anyone have anything they would like to say about the agenda?
Jenny, I'm sorry, I missed, what is it that you're going to be doing in August or September? I missed that.
Honoring the retirees. So I think the plan is to wait until we can actually have them come to a meeting in person. So it will be whenever it is. And I think, Larry, did you say it wouldn't be till maybe October?
No, we could probably, if I know enough ahead of time, we could do it in September probably. But the only thing is we just need to meet in person whenever we
Right.
open the boardroom again.
Right.
And there's usually I got quite a list, and there's usually, we invite family members. So, we could get upwards of 50 to 75 people. So we have to just be aware of that.
Yep. And I mean, again, as I understand it, and I have not spent the time, and others, please chime in if you know more. I mean, I think we're still operating under the emergency orders, at least till the middle of July, but I think the governor is continuing to reassess that. And I think we do want to be cautious about in-person meetings if it's possible for us to not have them in person. But we also want, at some point, we will be in person. So, okay, we've got a couple of people with their hands up. Tom?
Sorry, I still haven't figured out the mute button yet. I know how it works, I just can't make it happen. Do we have a quick update on what the status of a communications director is or is happening? We've made mention of it, but I'm interested in knowing, do we have a job description? If we do, has it been advertised? Have we approved it?
So I think the communications director position was not brought forward in the budget. So I don't think that is something that we are contemplating. I think what Ms. Murphy is talking about is a limited contract just for a consultant to work during a specified time period. And that is something that she would be bringing forward for us to consider at the July meeting, whether or not we want to do that. But I don't think it's definitely not a communications director position that's being proposed.
Thank you, Jen. That clears it up for me.
Great, thanks. And I did note that Barb had typed in that we would use a large facility to honor the retirees, which makes sense to me. That would be a good way to do it. Jack, did you want to speak?
No, I'm just trying to get rid of the hand. I don't know how
Oh,
I did that, but
okay.
that's okay. It won't let me get rid of it, but no,
Okay.
you know what? There we go. Sorry.
Talk to the hand. Good.
Well, Larry, you say that to me every day.
Okay, so I think we're good with the agenda and we can go on and look at the July calendar.
Yep, we'll do. All right. Can everybody see the July calendar? Is that okay?
Yeah. Yep. And I think the key period is the end of the month.
Yep.
I think we had talked about at our last scheduling meeting. And, you know, I've talked to some of the folks on the committees that we want to make sure we have an instructional committee meeting to talk about school opening, to spend a little more time on it than just the update. So we had talked about having that on July 22nd. Oh, and we're going back to Wednesdays rather than Thursdays. So while Dr. Bass was working with us, we had our board meetings Mondays and Thursdays. Traditionally, it's always been Mondays and Wednesdays. So this calendar has us going back to Mondays and Wednesdays again. So I just wanted to flag that. And if it's an issue for anyone, then let us know. But I think from what I heard from most people, they were comfortable going back. And then we also had wanted to schedule a communications and policy committee meeting. This is to talk about Title IX. There's a new Title IX regulation that is supposed to go in effect in mid-August. And I know that Karen Fisher Anderson has been working on a draft policy that would be presented there. And then there are some other policies that she's been looking at. So it was important to have that meeting in July so that we could bring it forward for August. Gina.
Sorry. Now, when all these calendars get put together, I tend to put them in my calendar in my phone that shares my calendar with my husband, so he knows what's going on. When meetings get moved or rescheduled, I'm gonna. It may be a big ask, but when the notice gets sent around that the meeting has been moved, can it include the language of the meeting that was formerly scheduled on X date has been moved to Y date? Because without that, my calendar at home ends up with school board meetings 4 out of 5 days of the week. And I have no idea what's on what day and what we're doing. And yes, I go to the SAU 8 calendar, but that's not always helpful because it's already been moved. And so I'm getting a little lost. So it's probably my troglodyte technology, but it's just an ask.
Yeah, and it may be something, and not to put Kathleen on the spot, but I know at times there has been a newsletter that's gone out to board members that includes kind of here are the upcoming meetings for this coming week. And I always found that to be helpful. So, it may be that that's a practice that we want to get back to. And we can try not to schedule too many meetings that get moved around. I
did see that was your practice, and I would like to be able to continue that because I think it's valuable to have that on Friday for the following week.
Thank you. That would be marvelous.
Thank you, Kathleen. That would be very helpful.
Yes, it certainly would.
Will do.
Great.
Jen, you and I talked. Oh, excuse me.
Go ahead, Larry.
We talked about a negotiations committee maybe, and thought maybe we could piggyback it after the executive committee on the 27th, if that makes sense. I'm hoping by then we at least get a demand letter from the CEA, and we may in fact get more with negotiating with 4 unions. So we may have something to report. It might be a 5-minute meeting, but at least we'll catch everybody up to date with where we're at.
Yep, and I think I had originally thought that we would do that in early August, but I think that July 27th would be good. I know, Gina, you had suggested that we do it even earlier. I think that might be challenging with everything else that we've got going on. So would you be okay if we didn't do it till the 27th, Gina?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, great. Lyndon, did you have your hand up?
Yes, last month we put in an executive committee meeting, which then needed to be rescheduled. Shall I change the name of the meeting on July 27th to special board meeting for scheduling so that we all know right off the bat?
Yes, I think that would be helpful. I mean, and again, it may be famous last words because we may be back to the regular old executive committee meetings by then, but we may not be. So let's at least set ourselves up that we're doing it the way that we've been doing it for the past few months. So yeah, thank you for that suggestion, Lyndon.
Will do.
And Gina, I know, did you have your hand up for something else as well?
No, am I still up?
You're up.
I am. Bad me.
No worries. Okay. So that's July.
So
That was, yep, go ahead.
I'm sorry. That'll be one meeting, or we'll separate that from negotiations?
So I think what I would want to do is to have the special meeting for scheduling from 5 to 6 on the 27th, and then we could have negotiations at 6 o'clock on the 27th.
Okay. Okay. Because that has to be posted differently, right? Negotiations?
Negotiations technically doesn't have to be posted because it's a non-meeting, but I think from a board member perspective, it's certainly helpful to not have it be a secret because, as Gina says, it gets very confusing.
Sure. Okay.
Okay, so I think that's it for July, and then August.
Yep.
Let's look at August. We I guess the only question I have, and it's for the central office staff and the committee chairs, with the moving of negotiations to the 27th, there are no committee meetings currently scheduled for August. Are there any committee meetings that we need to schedule? Will we need another communications and policy committee meeting, for instance, in August?
We need a city and community relations meeting, and that can be either July or August.
Okay, thank you, Liza. Why don't we do that for August?
Sure.
So, and I think, do you have a preferred date? That negotiations is not going to be on the 5th. So I think August is pretty wide open right now.
I do not have a strong preference. I don't know if Dave does, but I mean, I'm not going anywhere.
Dave, do you have any scheduling constraints? Is Dave on? No.
I don't think Dave's on.
Oh, he's not on. That's right. Okay. Well, Liza, I would say pick a date, and then we'll see whether it works for the. Who else is on that committee besides you and Dave? I think.
I apologize that I can't.
So I'm pulling that up right now for you.
Why can't I think of it?
I thought it was maybe Barb and Gina, but I'm not sure.
So you have Liza, Tom, Dave, and Danielle.
Oh, okay. Gosh, I was
Great.
totally wrong.
If no one else has an opinion, let's do the 11th. I mean, no, that's not right. Sorry. Okay, now I'm looking at the calendar. 10th or 12th, if the 10th doesn't work for anyone.
My personal philosophy on summer meetings is I try to do them for the Wednesday so people can take long weekends, but I don't know if anyone is traveling or not. So
that's a good point. Let's do the 12th.
Great.
Thank you.
Yep. Thanks, Liza. Anything else? Facilities, finance? I talked to Jack briefly, and I think Jack thought we were pretty well set for July and August. But Tom or Jim, do you feel a need for a committee meeting?
I'm fine, Jack. I think we're on a good track to move financially into August and September, unless you see a need to move with something else. I don't think so.
No, I think as we said when we did your motion on the 25th with that special board meeting, on the 3rd, we'll give you an update. And if you feel coming out of there, you want to have a little bit more discussion, we can hold a special meeting and you can make some adjustments to that or do it that night. But as of right now, I think we're okay.
And Barb is asking in the comments whether there are facilities concerns with reopening. I mean, certainly that is one of the areas that's being looked at, but I think it may be easier just from our perspective and the public's perspective if we cover all of the issues in an instructional meeting, if you're okay with that, Barb. And she
Yeah,
says
Jenny,
she's
I
okay
think
with it.
right now we don't necessarily need one, but let me touch base with Matt.
Okay, sounds
But
great.
for now, don't schedule it.
Okay, great, thank you. So, and I guess we have the first day of school. When is the first day of school? And I guess maybe that's also contingent on what happens with reopening, but.
The kids
according to our-
report on the 31st, yep.
Yep, and that's according to the calendar that we adopted in December. But I guess we have to all stay tuned and see what that looks like.
So the
Great.
scheduling meeting on the 24th, that'll be at 5 o'clock, right? We'll call it scheduling.
Let's call it scheduling. Again, if we change it back to executive, then we will, but for now, let's keep it as scheduling. And I wanted, yeah, go ahead, Larry.
No, I'm sorry. We may do a negotiations, but we'll have to let you know. We don't know where we'll be by then. I'd hate to schedule a time. So yeah, just be prepared to maybe hopefully hold a meeting, but.
Yeah, that makes sense. And again, looking really, really quickly at the preliminary opening guidelines, there were a few areas where they talked about policies. So if there are actual policies that are real policies from a board perspective, we might have to have a communications and policy committee meeting in August, but let's wait and see for now. And I did want to let board members know, I assume that you all get the New Hampshire School Board Association's emails. They're having a little conference on reopening along with Primex, and it's on July 23rd. So if anyone is interested, you could sign up for that. And I don't know, there may be some folks, maybe Matt, there may be other folks from the district that are attending that. It looked kind of interesting.
That August special board. Sorry.
No, go ahead, Jack.
That August special board meeting for scheduling, that's a 5 to 6 as well.
Yep.
Okay.
I was going to say, Kathleen, I keep, just a kind of a FYI for you, we have an administrator's vacation calendar that I use. I ask administrators, actually asked them a couple of months ago to let me know if they had any planned vacation time. And I'll give you access to that on Wednesday and show you how to look at it. And you'll be able to see what administrators are taking time and who's available on what days. So I think you'll find that very helpful, hopefully.
Thanks, Larry.
Yep.
Okay, so I think that was everything that I had, unless there's anything else we need to talk about. Not seeing anybody. I like these short meetings. Thanks, everyone. And we don't need to take any votes. Welcome, Kathleen.
Thank you.
We will all see each other on the 6th. Somebody typed in the comment. Let me just see what it is. Thank you, Jenny. Welcome, Kathleen. That was from Barb.
Thank you.
Thank you, Barb. So I will entertain a motion. Oh, Jim, go ahead. Yep.
I was just going to make the motion to adjourn.
Okay, so Jim moves to adjourn. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Tom. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, we are adjourned. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks,
Have a
everyone.
good evening.
Good night. Good night. Thank you.
Good night.